Yeah, I want to start out by saying two things. But now that I saw my size of my head on that screen, what if Atlanta wouldn't mind if we started the Big Head Doll Trail in Richmond?
Love it.
Love it too. But the second thing is, I really feel bad. After a long career, you finally got your 15 minutes of fame, and you got to share it with me.
So, yeah, this is my friend, by the way. Yeah, this is my friend. And let's get this out of the way right now. Okay? Nobody's rung their bell today, so I'm going to ring it for myself. There you go. All right. So, look, we only have 15 minutes. We got to get this thing moving. So, Tom and I go way back. Tom's the Chief Marketing Officer for Visit Richmond. And we worked together back at Visit Pittsburgh many, many moons ago. But we're going to talk today about how lodging, this thing has a mind of its own, how lodging analytics are helping Richmond uncover their hidden value in some of their top origin markets. So, Tom, can you give us a little background about the Richmond region?
If you've never been to the region of Richmond, Virginia, come on down. That's a marketing plug, not a sales plug. But I stress the word Virginia because as of today, there's 150 Richmond cities across the world. So that's a point of differentiation we always have to drive home. But a couple of reasons why I chose to go to Richmond. First of all, cost of living is outstanding. It's a beautiful region. The location back to Pittsburgh served me well. But the most important thing is that instead of being able to promote just one city and one county, I get to promote 7 jurisdictions in the region. That's 4 counties, 2 cities, including Richmond, and 1 little town, cute town, Ashland, Virginia. But the bonus, the icing on the cake is when I took the job, I found out that Richmond was already using Arrivalist. And I'd fought for years for Arrivalist in Pittsburgh. We just were never able to make it happen. But soon after I started the job, I realized that although we had Arrivalist, we weren't really using it well. We were grabbing some of the sexy data off the dashboard and putting it into board reports and presentations, but we had never tied it back to our campaigns. And Jason and his team have started to help us dive down deeper to uncover the value of that.
Check's in the mail, buddy.
Thank you.
Okay, so I want to congratulate you guys too because you have a TID coming.
Yes.
Right, a tourism improvement district, and that'll kick in the fall. But so as an ex-hotelier as well as you, that tells me that your hotelier is going to be looking for a lot from you, right?
Oh yeah, the pressure's already started. How many people have TIDs or T-bids or, okay, there's some out there. Yeah, the pressure's already starting, but just think about it. These hoteliers had to go back to their owners and their brands and convince them to add a 2% assessment onto their hotel bills. So they want value and they want it quick. So we got to not only come up with long-term marketing strategies, but we got to have some quick wins right off the beginning. And also they want us to build out midweek business, and we know how easy that can be. So, but those are their expectations, and we don't even have any of the funds yet until mid-fall.
Yeah, so they're already getting on it, right? So, and as our team started digging into the data, obviously DC is a big market for you, always was, always will be. But we started seeing things like New York and Philly pop up with a revenue per arrival being much higher than those markets, right?
Right.
Yeah, so, and then also you were looking at the points of interest. Because you found something very interesting about one of your big groups, right?
Yeah, again, we weren't analyzing as well as we should be, but we found that we had a major cheerleading competition in Richmond. I mean, it sold out the city, that's how big it was. But when we were trying to track them after they left to see where they went, no one went to Short Pump. If you're familiar with Virginia, it is the major mall and shopping district. And we thought that was a big miss because there's a lot of downtime between those competitions. So we already know next time they come back, we'll go market while they're in market, but we're also go market before they come back and show them all the places they can go.
Yeah, and for those of you that aren't familiar with sporting events, when you have a sporting event that is girls-oriented, they travel with mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, grandpa, and shopping is one of the biggest things that they do, right? So that was a big miss. So tell us a little bit more about the TID.
Well, TID, for those that haven't know that, it was a long process, but for so long we had fallen behind our competition in our comp set that had TIDs, so their marketing budgets were 2, 3, 4 times our budget. So we went through this long process. We convinced our hotels, only the hotels with 40-plus rooms or more, to buy into the TID concept. And again, they're going to want value really quick on that. So we're able to, with a TID, to double our annual budget from $7.5 million to, what's that, $15 million? Yeah. $15 million. So that's a lot of marketing dollars, and that's a lot of sales dollars to go out and buy events. So we're leveling the playing field.
But the hotels are going to be managing that, right? I mean, they're going to be giving you direction on where to spend that.
Yeah, there's a special board for a TID board, and it's made up of the hoteliers. And they have to approve our marketing and sales budgets every year. And they're going to be tough on us, again, because they made an investment.
Absolutely. All right. So can you give us a little understanding? Oh, did we talk about orange markets? Yeah, let's talk about your origin markets.
Are they up there?
Yeah, they are.
If you can see by the list, and if you're familiar with the East Coast, I-95 runs from Florida all the way up to Maine. So we're at the intersection of I-95 and I-64, so it's a great location. But most of the time, especially with our past budgets, we focused on our drive markets. And all these cities you see there are along those drive markets. But Washington, D.C., for 20 years has been our top market because of the proximity, only 90 miles up 195, but just that people are traveling down for that. But again, we got focused on that. For 20 years, we didn't do much analyzing or thinking. We were going to donate or contribute probably 60% of our budget every year into the DC market. Again, Jason and his team have identified other alternatives for us.
Yeah, so we started diving in and looking at need periods, and we particularly looked at midweek stays, right? And we were trying to look at people coming to the destination, not through the destination. So we were looking at that 2-night, 3-night, 4+ night midweek, because as Tom mentioned, the hoteliers are going to be looking for that additional business that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? And as we move forward here, I want to clarify something. You're going to hear me talk about revenue per arrival, and that's a metric that we use at Arrivalist. And I'll slow down a little bit and explain that. For those of you that understand ADR, average daily rate, STR uses their occupancy to come up with a metric called RevPAR, right? Revenue per available room. They use the occupancy from STR, apply it to the average daily rate to get through RevPAR. We use occupancy from mobile devices, right? So we're agnostic to the reservation process. We bring it in through mobile devices. We pull in the STR, average daily rate, and that gives us a revenue per arrival, okay? So that's kind of important, because as we go through this, that's one of the things, the KPIs we look at to determine where our clients should be spending some of their money. So we took a deeper dive into days of week, and you can see here that, as Tom mentioned, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays are kind of soft. Weekends, they're killing it, right? So the hotels are doing okay with that, but they really want some additional business during those weekdays. And then we took a look at months, right? So the seasonality of it. And they've got a great spike in spring, in the summertime, and in the fall, like in November. And I'm guessing those are your sporting events and conventions, right? But you can see that there's a dip in the fall and a big valley in the winter. And that's where we really wanted to focus our energy to try to help them bolster those need periods, right?
Yeah. Now, the history of that is they've always been bad periods, so there's never been a marketing funds saved for those bad periods. We went full out on the strong periods. So, again, we got to rethink that and start throwing some marketing dollars that way, especially with the TID monies coming in.
Yeah, so let's talk a little strategies about addressing these. So the whole point of this presentation is to show you that there's hidden value in those origin markets beyond your number one origin market, right? So we're in Vegas, and what's better in Vegas than magic tricks, right? So as we go through this, I'm going to pull this guy out of the hat as we move along, okay? So.
Hope it's better than your talent, but anyway.
Wow. Did I mention he's my friend? So if you take a look, the origin market that you see at the very top is Virginia, right? And it's 40 million in revenue per arrival, which is 4 times the next 2 markets. So now we understand where the majority of the money's coming from the state. And then we wanted to get it down to the DMA. So we took a look at, okay, well, let's look at Virginia and the DMAs. And you see those top 3, but with Washington, D.C., Norfolk, Roanoke, Lynchburg, with New York being a distant 4th, right? And this is going to be a major shift for Richmond. As Tom mentioned, they focus most of their energy on Washington, D.C., but we're recommending, hey, take a look at your top 3. And some of you might be saying, well, why not New York, right? So we took a deeper look at New York, and there's New York on the one side. And New York is coming on the weekends. Well, they're already killing it on the weekends, so don't spend any money on that market. Pay attention to those markets that can help drive that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? And then we get into the hotel revenue per arrival of those markets, those DMAs, and you can see they're doing okay, right? But here's where the magic is. Here's where we really try to help boost that even further, and there's a little guy jumping out of the hat, right? So now here's where we reveal the magic trick, and it's really not that magical at all, right? It's essentially fishing where the fish are. So we can take the intelligence down to, for those DMAs that are bringing in Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday arrivals, 2 to 4 night stays, and get it down to the zip code level and understand where those people are staying in market that are staying in hotels. They have a propensity to stay in hotels. That's what his hoteliers want, right? That Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 2 to 4 night stay, and we're able to drill down to that zip code level and really give them a granular approach on how to market moving forward. So, Tom, tell us a little bit about what next steps are for you.
They're easy. We're going to follow a lot of the steps that Jason just outlined and build our campaigns around the data that Arrivalist is giving us. We're going to monitor the media efficiencies of the campaign, but we're not going to lose track of our top origin markets because by shifting money away from them, we want to make sure that doesn't drop off too much. So we'll be pivoting as we go.
Yeah, and so as they implement those campaigns, they'll use our attribution product and take a look at the media efficiencies to see where, and then they can report back to their hoteliers to say, this is where we spent our money, and this is the result that we're getting from that spend, right? And we actually carry it out to 365 days because if you stop at 60 days, you're missing over 1,000 arrivals that come in after that 60-day period. And then the next thing we're going to do is take a look at seasonality because different people are coming during different times of the year, right? Yeah. So we'll help them with that seasonality piece, understanding where they should be spending their marketing dollars, also down to that zip code level. The last thing that we're going to do is help them with points of interest and expand their points of interest to understand those people, where those people are going during those Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And perhaps we might even be able to understand the movement of those business travelers and where they're going so they can then market to them.
Yeah, that's a huge challenge for us because remember, we have 7 jurisdictions and they will all want us to drive visitation into their jurisdiction. So we're going to have to come up with points of interest, and we do have them throughout the region, but do that even more for each jurisdiction. So we're happy about that.
Hey, Tom. We did it, man.
In under 1 minute.
Under 1 minute.
Congratulations. Left. Can I hear it for Jason Fulvey?
Yeah. Thank you all very much.
Okay.